let's get into a team from north of the border here. What are you thinking about the Vancouver Canucks?
Vancouver. Give me 1 second.
I'm gonna pop them up right here.
Yep.
So,
Vancouver. Okay. This team is like a wild horse, right? You have strong goaltending, and at times you see them and you're like, oh man, they can do something, and then nothing happens.
Yeah, it's
like
it's
they
so
don't
true.
have they don't have a blaring superstar or anything like that. They have like JT Miller as their star center. JT Miller has never been a superstar.
He's a star, though.
That's why I say he's never been a superstar. He's always been a good player that can be a star, for sure. And last year, he did his thing. 99 points. 99 points for that man. He has developed in a good way because he's always been the grindy player. He'll go into the corner and fight and make his presence noticed. He'll fight somebody if it comes to it. He's always been that type of guy. And, they surrounded him with two pieces, and he did his thing, is the best way to put it. You got Horvat centering the second line with Pedersen and, how do you say it, Bozier?
Brock Bozier.
Bozier. There you go. I apologize.
Well, Bo Harvick's out for the season.
Is he? Oh yeah, he is out for the season.
So that puts a damper on things.
Yeah, that's tough.
I mean, I will say this is like I look at them. I mean, like I think their superstar talent is Elias Pettersson. I think he has all the tools to be a superstar.
Yeah.
He's just got to find it out. He's got to like kind of figure out his game because he had one phenomenal season and then it's kind of come back a little bit down to earth. 68 points last season, still a very good season.
Yeah.
But I think there's more there. I think with JT Miller, I think he's finally found a home. Yeah. I think Vancouver is finally kind of like he's found a team that's really embraced him. I think this man's also, he's a UFA next year. So at the end of the season, I should say. So guess what happens? 99 points this season. I think he'll probably get around the same. And that man's going to get paid. Paid. Yeah. I mean, like, if I'm JT Miller, I'm balling out this year, and I'm trying to get for 100 points. I think this team is a nice team. I like certain aspects up front. Like, I think, it sucks with the whole Horvat thing, but, Besser and Pedersen, I think are good players.
Yeah, I think Pedersen moves to the center position, and they bring in a winger. It's easier to fill in on a wing situation compared to a center situation. So I think Pedersen moves to the middle, and they bring in a left winger to fill in that role or move somebody up. But I think that Pedersen with Bozier, they stay on the second line, and they just have someone fill in.
Yeah, and I think Ilya Mikheyev, he played for Toronto last season, if I remember correct. Or am I or was that the year before? Oh. I apologize. I have to kind of look at this because that's going to bother me.
Yeah, he played for Toronto last season.
Okay, so like I don't think he was necessarily as happy with his role. But I think in this year he'll get a place to shine. He had 32 points in 53 games. That's pretty good. Over a half a point per game. I mean, maybe he slots up on the second line if Pedersen goes to the center slot. An underrated signing, in my opinion, is on the fourth line is Curtis Lazar. I watched him as a Bruins fan. I absolutely loved him. Very heart and soul guy. I mean, he can't finish. He can't finish, but he'll give you 100% effort. I think he's the perfect fourth liner. $1 million, that's perfect for him. And I'm kind of glad to see him get a couple year contract because I think he did really well. I mean, defense here. I mean, Oliver Ekman-Larsson, he's out for 6 weeks, so we'll probably be back in time for the. Probably might miss a week or two in the NHL regular season, but you got Ekman-Larsson, you got Tyler Myers, you got Quinn Hughes, who had 68 points last season from the point. You got Luke Shen. You got Travis Dermott. You got Kyle Burrows. I mean, I think this decor is not bad. It's not bad. I think Ekman Larson, unfortunately, is not the guy he used to be in Arizona in his Arizona prime years. I know he's only 31. And people are like, wow, he's already past his prime. But sometimes some defensemen age poorly. I think he's kind of lost his step. But I think he can still be an effective top four defenseman. I think the best puck-moving point guy would probably be Quinn Hughes. But I think he's got to get better defensively from what I've seen. I think he's adequate. But I just think if he can round out his game, he can actually be considered one of the better defensemen in the NHL. And, I mean, anything you got to say about the decor before I go to goalies?
No. I mean, they look like they have a solid squad. I mean...
Yeah.
Again, nothing pops out at you. Obviously, Ekman Larson is their title name on the defense. He did have...
Quinn Hughes.
Well, I mean... He's getting there, right? He had a really good season last season. It's yet to be seen if he can sustain that.
Yeah.
Larson is just he has that title name because he's been doing it for so long, right? He did it in Phoenix for a while, whatever. Even though technically he looked like a little, like it's a little bit past him right now, but. Maybe he comes back this season, refreshed and ready to go, and he puts up big numbers again.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a possibility. I still think your best producer for the point is going to be Hughes because 8 goals, 60 assists in 76 games, like 68. That's great. So maybe he doesn't reproduce that, like have the same exact results, but maybe 50 points. I think he's only 22 years old, and if he keeps learning position, he could be like an elite level guy. I think goaltending, though, is fantastic on this team.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a big Thatcher Demko guy. I watched him in college a lot. He's $5 million. I think he's more worth that and more. He had 64 games played last year, so a workhorse, 2.72 goals against, and a .915 save percentage, 33 wins, 22 losses. Like, you just look up Thatcher Demko highlight reels. Like, he would make some mind-blowingly good saves. Quite frankly, behind teams that would kind of leave him out to try at times.
Yeah.
And then, in smaller sample side, you had, they have Spencer Martin in the slot and have the backup role. 6 games played, 1.75 goals against, .950 save percentage, 3 wins, 0 losses. I mean, that's obviously not sustainable. I mean, the one guy that is actually, it's going to be interesting. Where is he? Is he still on this list? Oh, DiPietro. He was kind of looked as the next guy for a while there in Vancouver, and he wants out. Like, he's kind of like their third stringer at this point. Mm-hmm. So it's gonna be interesting to monitor that. Like, is DiPietro gets dealt and stuff like that to a team that needs a goalie. But I think they're probably happy with Spencer and probably happy with the Demko-Martin tandem as of right now. Yeah. Maybe one of these other goalies, maybe DiPietro plays them out, but it just seems like that's kind of past his time at this point. He's only 23 years old, but, I mean, that's been the big drama with the Vancouver Canuck fans is that Michael DiPietro wants out. And speaking from a New Yorker with DiPietro, I mean, I think Fajardo doesn't have anything positive to say about that name. So, but, I mean, that would be an interesting situation to monitor.
Yeah, no, definitely.
What do you think about their goalie situation?
I mean, I like their goalie situation. Their goalies have to stand on their heads at times, but they have been, and that's the difference between them and like a team like San Jose or Seattle, right?
Yeah.
If your defense is not there, it's falling through at times. Maybe they're too offensive at times or whatnot. The goalies can hold it down. They can make that big save. That's what they're known for. Obviously, everybody saw the highlights for Demko in the playoffs. The guy's an animal. He's a beast. So it's one of those situations where they're good, and if they solidify their defense all around a little bit more, I say maybe get 1, maybe 2 guys to come in I think that they're going to be
good.
an actual contender. You know, like because that's all it was. That's all Colorado did last season. Besides, obviously, the fantastic forwards that they had, was their decor was able to, you know, score and play defense, right?
Yeah.
And in this one, it, like, depending on the defensive pairing, they do one or the other, and that's kind of where they need a little bit more balance.
Yeah, I think it's going to be interesting to see how things pan out here with Vancouver, because they're one of these teams that's always on the edge of being like, ooh, they're going to make it this year, and then they fall off. You know what I mean? Yeah. Or they make the playoffs, then the next year. It's like they're hot and cold. I mean, I think Vancouver has all the talent in the world to be a playoff team. Mm-hmm. I mean, maybe they are in a very tough division, so it's kind of hard to exactly place where I'd put them right off the top of my head. But, you know, before we get into the rankings, anything else you got to say about Vancouver?
No, that's it, really.
All right, so let's get right into it. We got Vancouver finished last year 5th, I believe. Let me pull it up. Yep, 5th. Where do you think they will slide this season in the Pacific Division?
Based off of everything else, like we said, Los Angeles, they're falling off in this season, in my opinion, in our opinion, I believe.
Yeah.
How you call it? I think that they move up, maybe 4th. The highest they can get is maybe 3rd, but I think Anaheim has something to say about that, right? Vegas, we still got to take a look at them and see what they're doing, see how their season's looking, injuries and so on. But I say a good maybe 4th is where they're going to say 4th or 5th.
Yeah, this is hard because I love me some Demko. I really want them to get the postseason. I'm gonna go with my conviction here. I think 3rd or 4th. I mean, like, I think they're gonna make the playoffs this season. Mm-hmm. I know missing like a guy like Horvat's big, but I think there's talent there. I think it's just undeniable there's talent there, and they can get more out of it. And if JT Miller even has like a 3/4 of the season he had last, like, they're gonna be very competitive. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I would have to say either 3 or 4. With Vancouver, I think we're going to see a little bit more of an improvement. And, like, heck, they were only 2 points out of 4th place last year. So, you know, hopefully they can kind of stem the tide and turn it around. Yeah,
only 7 points out of 3rd. So that's why I said, like, you know, they could max out at 3rd. But, yeah, 4th is kind of, like, 3rd and 4th is, yeah, it's kind of where they're going to fall.
Yeah.
I don't think they'll be 5th.
No, I don't either. Now, anything else to say before we head to the next team?
No, that's it for Vancouver.